Pony Express. Check out their line of penetration testing devices, including the Pwn Pad, the Pwn Phone, and the Pwn Pro. For enterprises, there's Pwn Pulse, providing continuous visibility into wired, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth spectrums across all physical locations, including remote sites and branch offices. For all those hard-to-reach places, there's Pony Express. Visit them on the web at ponyexpress.com. Tenable Network Security, creators of Nessus, the world's best vulnerability scanner. Jumpstart your security program today and evaluate Security Center CV, the continuous monitoring solution. For more information, visit them on the web at tenable.com. Onapsis, the leading provider of solutions to protect ERP systems from cyber attacks. Customers can secure their SAP and Oracle business-critical platforms from espionage, sabotage, and financial fraud risks. Visit them on the web at onapsis.com. Welcome back, everyone, for the security news.
The security nudes?
Security news,
Oh,
Larry.
He said
Get your
news.
mind out of the gutter. Joff, Michael, Carlos, and Jack join us via Skype as Larry and I are here in studio to talk about all of the wonderful or not so wonderful, depending on your perspective, things that are happening in the security world this week, where with the illustrious panel of Security Weekly folks like to start with the security news.
Well, it'd be weird if we had like a WordPress thing to do.
It'll be weird, right? It could be even our first one of this year. And you know what's interesting? Where is it? I had a WordPress. I know I did. Denial of service and
No, you did. They pop up
DHCP,
like drunk girls at a prom.
Fortinet S backdoor. Think like a criminal. I did. I had a WordPress one in here. I saw it. Anyway, there is a WordPress one. I can talk about it because it is a cross-site scripting in the WordPress engine itself. Now, most people are like, oh, well, WordPress is fine as long as you don't install any of the plugins. And I run a WordPress server, and I'm secure because I don't have any plugins. Larry, I don't know anyone that said that recently. Do you?
Yeah.
Sorry, Larry.
No.
Where do you go?
Apparently, for those.
I didn't actually say I was secure. I just said I think I had less to worry about. So, looks like I got to update some WordPress sites tonight.
Yep. I can't find the link to the article. I don't know the exact attack vector.
Cross-site scripting?
Yeah, I'm sure if you search for WordPress
cross-site scripting, I would
you
be
get a
given
couple of results.
be given a result or two.
Yeah, just Google WordPress vulnerability. There won't be that many.
Yeah, there's not that many.
It'll come right up.
There's only 10,000 plus results on Google's for that.
Tens of thousands. Oh, God.
All right, so I suppose along those same lines, we should talk about Adobe patches flaws in Adobe Reader, because we've never talked about that before.
These are all so new. I got nothing, man. You guys are freaking me out.
I know. What is going on? For Windows and Mac are vulnerable. And Adobe says, get this, Adobe says none of the vulnerabilities are being attacked in the wild. Because apparently Adobe has insight into every computer on the planet and can determine whether or not they are being attacked using Adobe software.
Dem crash reports, though.
So Adobe is Skynet.
I never knew this about Adobe. Apparently, Adobe is more powerful than I ever once thought.
What if I told you there was no Adobe?
These are not the Adobes you're looking for.
Oh, God.
No, Larry, you made an interesting comment. You said, could they be basing this on the crash reports? Now, I did read a fabulous article last year about Microsoft and how they analyze crash reports to discover 0 days.
Yeah.
So you hit the nail on the head with a plausible theory as to how Adobe could, in fact, monitor every Adobe installation on the planet. That's provided you've enabled crash reporting.
And you click that little button that says, would you like to report this?
But that's if the crash reporting software didn't crash.
I was just going to say that. You've done that with Adobe software, right? Where you like click there, or it pops up with the trying to restart, and
Not only that, but let's just say that what prevents Zero Day to be in the reporting software that they add? Given
true.
the crash.
It's a good point, Carlos. Wow,
Wow,
we are
Carlos had
all-
to take us right to the twilight zone. Like no pass and
we
go.
all have our
Let's go
evil
right
hats on, and we're all full of shiny cheer and joy this evening.
First version, HTTP. Second version, oh, now we added HTTPS, but we don't check certificate. Third version, backdoor credentials that can access a listening service on the reporting software. Oh, fourth version. Just keeps going down the rabbit hole.
Okay. Anything else to say about Adobe?
I think we've pretty much.
We hates
hashed
them,
it
my
to
precious.
We hates them, my precious. Jack, I miss you.
I was going to say something. I don't know if I have authorization to say that, so I'm going to have to keep it to myself.
Wow. Wow.
I'll tell you guys after the show.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say, there's a first time for everything.
Remind me to tell you after the show.
Okay.
Okay, so where do we want to go next? Do we want to talk Silverlight? Do we want to talk DHCP? Do we?
TrendMicro?
WordPress was my first story. Someone could have told me that I'm.
Hey,
It
WordPress was your
Hey,
first.
Stupid.
Hey, Paul, WordPress was your first story. I told you.
Anyway,
We could have told you. We chose not
you
to.
chose not to. It's fine. It's fine. Well, for those looking in the show notes, if you're interested in the WordPress cross-site scripting attack, it is my story
Boom.
number 1.
Boom.
Do you want to talk about something not like vulnerability related? Do you want to go to like Bizarro World?
Yes.
Oh yes, let's go to Bizarro World.
Let me ask you this question, and you tell me if I thought I was like how bizarre this was. You tell me if you think was Sean Penn really responsible for El Chapo's arrest?
No.
I have just one question: is how did they manage to catch El Chapo and Sean Penn got away free?
Oh shit.
In reality, it was that he couldn't keep it in his pants, and he was after the lady Castillo, the actress in Mexico, and the guy just kept texting her, and initially the Mexican police started monitoring the communications of the lawyer. From the lawyer, they found that he was talking with Castillo. Then they said, okay, now let's monitor the lawyer and Castillo, and let's find something in common between both of them. Oh, here's a couple of phone numbers. Let's monitor these phone numbers. Oh, now we see a pattern in communication here. Between this phone number, a couple of the big shots in the cartel. Now we know who's calling the shots. Let's monitor their comms, and all of a sudden, oh, he's going to be in a place, and they're going to be meeting with Sean Penn and Castillo. Cool. Let's find out when they arrive at the airport, and let's follow them. Oh, now we followed them to this villa, big mansion. Okay, let's send the Marines in.
And that's
Carlos,
pretty much
I
how
think
it went down.
I think your packets just went through a straw. Just saying.
So, you guys couldn't hear me?
I could hear you.
Okay.
Joff's just getting old. He needs a hearing
Oh,
aid.
come on.
I love you, Joff.
So
how does the woman play into all this? I'm confused.
She played a cartel boss in a telenovela in Mexico, and she's very pretty, and he was smitten by her, and he was going gaga for her, and he just and she kept kind of playing him on the text messages like, oh, nobody has taken care of me, and he says, no, don't worry, I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you better than I take care of my own eyes. And he kept kind of sweet talking her, and when you look at his comms to his guys, one of the things he says, oh, and if she brings somebody in addition to Sean Penn, don't worry, let her. I want her to be happy. So he brought his entire guard down and broke OPSEC because he could keep it in his pants. In fact, one of the things that the Marines found was that he was taking testosterone shots in his home. They found a couple of vials of testosterone, and and with the injections in his room.
Interesting.
He was kind of prepping for her arrival.
So reading
So-
this article on
This article is hilarious.
yes.
Now, for sorry, Carlos, to changing gears, but Larry's laughing at the
Yeah.
article because the Sean Penn, I use this term very loosely. OPSEC is laughable at best, which
Yes.
is one of the main reason why I added the story.
And the tweet from Christopher, I can't pronounce his last name, is OPSEC advice. Use Signal on an iPod Touch connected via Tor. Don't chat with Sean Penn.
Christopher Segoyan.
Segoyan? Okay.
Yeah, he's my Armenian brother. We interviewed him on the show.
Wait. I was just thinking that Carlos needed to get off the island for a while. That's what I was thinking.
To meet Sean Penn or something.
Yeah, that's it. To go meet Sean Penn in another Latin American nation of some sort.
Oh boy. Yeah, the article is pretty hilarious, actually. When Penn tries to describe the technology that he used,
Yes.
but then in the same breath says something like, "I've never even used a laptop."
I'm 55
Yeah.
years old and I've never learned how to use a laptop.
When you look at his face, you know that he has the money to get the good stuff.
Yeah.
When you look at him, he doesn't
This
need
is
a
true,
laptop.
Carlos.
It's tripping.
This is true.
That's it. Santa Colangelo lost it.
Yeah, we went.
He looks like he's been rode hard and put away wet. That's
Ooh,
Hey,
Santa
leave El
Colangelo?
Chapo out
I
of
was
this.
just gonna say, we're talking about. What are we talking about now?
And the thing is, this
Didn't even
guy
bring up
has
City.
always kept such a good OPSEC. According to friends of mine for government, they have told me he has very good OPSEC. He keeps moving. All of his homes have different tunnels with exits. All of the tunnels, we have found weapons in the tunnel, so he's ready in case we find one of the exits to fight it out. His guys are very well trained, blah, blah, blah. And he broke all of the rules because he went gaga for this lady. Which I don't blame him after seeing her pictures, but
Well,
yeah.
exactly.
not that we Google image. It's funny. I kept seeing comments and tweets about. I saw a couple after last week's episode when we were all Google image searching Tia Carrera.
Yeah.
And I see a comment or a tweet here be like, "Oh yeah, I paused and I Googled and yep, you guys are right. Okay, carry on."
Nice. Nice.
I thought that was good.
Very nice.
Very nice. High five.
Next story.
Yeah. So, do you guys think this is a good thing or a bad thing that Microsoft has finally made a proper way to opt out of Windows 7, 8 to Windows 10 computer upgrades?
Good thing.
Oh, that was so annoying. That was so freaking annoying of constantly being harassed by the update program. Like, you want to install Windows 10? Do you want to install Windows 10? Hey, by the way,
Do you
I
want to
just
install-
downloaded a bunch of gigs into your machine. Do you want to install it? And go like, I never gave you permission to download gigs into my machine.
Yes, you did. You clicked the EULA.
Jack, what do you think about that?
I think that if they flipped that and said, "Would you like to have Windows 7 back?" I couldn't click fast enough.
Oh, really? So you're not a big fan of Windows 10?
The updates, unless you're on a corporate environment where you're managing it, updates are automatic no matter what.
Unless you unplug your Ethernet connection, which
Right.
I did on this machine the
Build
other day.
quality is garbage. It's got video driver stability, kind of like Ubuntu did 18 or 20 years ago before Linux existed. I mean, it's a
Damn.
steaming pile of shit.
What's been different?
It'll be ready in another 5 or 10 years. There's some great things from the security perspective in Windows 10, but you can't readily manage it. And I will say this: whatever you do, don't go to Windows or Office 2016 on that. Office 2016 plus Windows 10 is not supported on Emmet, even
Wow.
the 5.5 betas.
Wow.
Run it, and you can't open or close files Office 2016 is a pile of crap, even if you're not running Emmet. But if you are, it's unusable.
So I think what Jack's saying is that
And
security
remember,
finally won.
I'm the Windows apologist most of the time. There's some stuff. I mean, it's one of my machines is my travel machine is Windows 10 Office 2016, and I wouldn't. I may go BSD by the end of this winter if this doesn't improve.
Well,
but now, Jack, what if
our experience has been different? I really like Windows 10. It's been super stable for me. I like the new UI stuff, but then again, I don't use Office 2016 on my machine. I use LibreOffice. So I don't know if it is that mix of. And then again,
that definitely is a big part of it. Office 2016, just OneDrive doesn't work the way you expect it to anymore. Windows 10 by itself was good, but the update process annoys.
In my case, I'm running Enterprise. I'm since I have an MSDN, I downloaded the Enterprise version, and that's the one I'm running in my VMs.
So that changes your update process too. That changes a bunch of stuff. I just took the Pro upgrade on a laptop that shipped with a clean 8.1.
But yeah, Jack, that's a good point. You know, it's an economic driver, I think, to upgrade your Windows 7 or 8 boxes. Right now, Microsoft's offering a free upgrade, and they're making it easy. Now, for someone that has, like myself, in the studio, 6 or 7 Windows machines, and I don't want to have to pay for an upgrade someday. I'm like, screw it, guys. We're going Windows 10 while it's free, and it hasn't been, knock on wood, no major issues yet, but we're not like using it as our daily desktop either.
Right. If you're using it as your daily desktop with Office 2016, a lot of folks have issues. Now, if you're not using Office 2016, even Office 2013 was a lot more stable on it. But do them one at a time if video matters to you like it does to you, Paul. I've heard that one from a variety of folks. I've got no external monitors on now, and my video crashes every now and then, and it's not unusual.
Wow. Thankfully, we haven't seen that issue.
Yeah. No.
In my case, since I'm living in Visual Studio and PowerShell ISE, probably I don't dab with the other stuff.
Hey, guys, I wanted to ask you, Jack and Carlos, you guys use Windows more than I think the rest of us. How come Skype has updates like seemingly every week? Like, what are they updating? I don't read about any heinous vulnerabilities. I don't seem to get any new features. I also don't really notice any heinous bugs in the past 6 months.
It is changing culture. One of the things that happened in Microsoft when Nadella came from the cloud team. They were using an agile method where developers had to test their own code, not a central QA. They iterated fast. They had sprints on code. And he's trying to push that culture all over the company. That's why you're seeing a lot of faster updates in Windows, a lot of faster updates in the different products, and that's why you're seeing a lot of updates in Skype. As we're progressing in code and we're fixing small bugs and small stuff, let's at least once a month release an update to it with whatever we have fixed so far, even if we have features or not. So they're kind of going that agile method like Facebook. But the funny thing is that Microsoft is moving into it, and Facebook is going the other way, moving away from it, because Facebook's now going like, no, we need to be more stable. Right. And Microsoft decided we need to be faster, but I think the quality of patches, the quality of updates, the quality of the product has gone down quite a bit with them taking this and firing so many documentation, so many of the testers. I think the change was too dramatic, and they're trying to kind of like stabilize internally.
Yeah, Paul, another thing that most of us aren't going to see, remember that Skype now is really Link for Business, and so there are a lot of giant corporate users trying to use this in place of some other,
Google
WebEx
Hangouts,
or Citrix or something, right? Yeah. And they're all horrible. It's one of those things that I just don't understand why they're all horrible. So that's part of it too. I mean, like as Carlos was saying, the build quality. If you use Outlook 2016 in plain text mode, which like one of the few things that's cool about Outlook is you can very easily strip all incoming emails to plain text, and then very quickly revert them if you actually need to read the HTML. And you can, send and receive in plain text without crippling it. It's not like trying to go to Pine or something. If you're in plain text mode and try to add attachments, they disappear. And they usually kind of are just hiding in the background of the email, and they'll go when you send them, but not always. And then sometimes it crashes. And that's been known for 5 or 6 weeks now, that if you add attachments in plain text mode, you can't see them, and if you can't see them, you don't know they're there. They usually go, And Microsoft's fix for it is just send HTML email, which is like, no, the whole point is. That's just one example.
And another thing, now you're seeing Microsoft pull stuff a lot more frequent than they used to. Before, probably they would pull 1 or 2 patches a year. Right now, on every patch cycle, I have seen pull a patch or pull an update. Like, for example, PowerShell 5 went RTM. Oh, we broke custom module path. Oh, let's pull it. And they had to pull that one. I've seen them pull a bunch of patches and reissued them, because since my work at Tenable, we worked with those Patch Tuesday stuff. I see the guys having to scramble and rewrite checks every time they pull a patch and reissue those, so we can check for the correct versions of different files.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
Larry, did you have, Jack or anyone else have stories you wanted to mention?
My two are very intertwined, and I'm really disappointed that John Strand isn't here.
Aren't we all?
Because my story number 2 is the TrendMicro API goodies from Tavis Ormandy. This one was just awesome. Tavis goes through and talks about some issues that he found. That the TrendMicro, one of the TrendMicro products includes a password manager, which is written in JavaScript, primarily in node.js.
I heard about this post.
And it has HTTP RPC ports for handling API. And it took him about 30 seconds to spot one that permits arbitrary command execution.
He used some interesting methods in this post. Someone was actually describing this to me this week.
Yeah, and it goes on and says, no, don't do this. And so they find some ways to get around it. And then he's like, well, great, you did that one, but there's like 30 more that are a problem. You need, as I've told you from the beginning, you need to do a full code audit and all of this type of stuff. And it goes on and on and on and on. I installed the patch, but I can see they added a bunch of origin header checks yet. Great, I can get around the origin header checks. Yeah, you're not fixing the problem. You're just putting more Band-Aids on top of the problem, and it's not working.
It's
Can you imagine
like
being in a software company and opening an email some morning as you're drinking your coffee, and it's like,
Tavis.
I was looking at your software, and then you see the sender was Tavis.
Oh, shit.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, if you can pick on security researchers, right, and say, well, everyone's pointing out problems and everyone has issues with their software, right? But there are certain articles I read, and when I hear about this one, it's kind of like, yeah, but like the company just doesn't get it when it comes to security. And you hear researchers describe like, yeah, I found some issues, and either they wouldn't fix them at all. They clearly, in their communications, presented they don't care about security, or they're trying to fix things like, what was it, D-Link, or I think it was D-Link, right?
Yeah.
They're just putting Band-Aids, not fixing them, and reintroducing vulnerabilities. That really just shows, and these researchers bring it to light, they show that the organization, at least the part they were interfacing with, no, it doesn't know anything about security or how to write resilient code, and that, to me, scares me. And I hate to have a bias towards certain vendors, but this is a clear case where I'm like, whoa, this red flag. We've been covering the security news for 10 years, right? So now I can start to say things about trends that we notice. And when security researchers interface with a company like this, it means that company is producing very poor software. It's insecure. It does not have integrity, and red flag.
Right. Well, interestingly, talking about the company and how you do it, Jeremiah Grossman went on a brief rant maybe yesterday on Twitter talking about a blanket policy for coordinated disclosure is not really workable because different software vendors require different processes. Jeremiah said there are some companies that he has no problem whatsoever giving them 90 days out of the gate, no questions asked, because of the reputation they have and having worked with them before.
Yep, I agree.
And the nature of what they're doing. And so to pick on the easy target, they're still far from perfect. But if you look at Microsoft and think about the implications and the number of sketchy patches that they've had to pull back, as we were just talking about, and the significance of bad patches, and what it takes to make sure you get it right. If they respond quickly and they keep you updated, that's cool. The people that threaten to sue you as soon as you show them a Google search string, it's I don't want to say screw them and paste bin it or full disclosure it, but there are people who would go that way, and I think that there's really no. I think he suggested like Yelp for disclosure, where you where you have a public community of Microsoft. Microsoft gets a 4.2 out of 5 because every now and
we're
then
gonna start making them wear scarlet letters too.
It's
the answer is yes, Jack.
Yes. The answer is yes. Well, it's like the big announcement this week.
Michael brings up a good
GM
point. It's with consumer, and it depends on who the consumer is, right?
Right.
In the case of Trend, I don't mean to pick on them, but their consumer, their audience that they're selling to is the end user, who often aren't the people that are reading Tavis's blog. Right now, a story that I have is when a corporation or university, as it were, right, where I happen to be working at the time, is going to purchase software, it's a big deal, and integrity is important. Maybe not security, right? But, we want a general feeling of integrity. Hey, Paul, why don't you test the viability of this software?
It's like having that cleanliness rating on the window at the restaurant.
And like one piece of software, I'm like, well, I really didn't have to try hard, and I found at least 50 points to do cross-site scripting. Right. And I'm like, in this other one, you had to try a little harder and it has issues, but it was better. When you look at like, without even really sneezing, you find 50 cross-site scripting vulnerabilities. I'm like, this is a problem. This application has to have integrity. It's either going to control a building automation, it's going to control a cash register, it's going to control student grades, or it's going to house student social security numbers. That system has to have some integrity to it. And if the security is so poor, then in a short amount of time you can find all those problems. Now, the buyer of that software has the benefit of having some security analysis if they so choose. When the end user is concerned, that's not a driver, right? So I feel like consumer-based software is way worse off.
Trend is, first of all, Trend is not defending them, but a couple of things to keep in mind. Trend sells a ton to the enterprise, but it's not as much endpoint.
Yeah, I mean they're a top 5. They're a top 5 security vendor, just so everybody.
But they're not they're not just endpoint protection. They have a whole bunch of different things. A lot of it acquired through acquisition.
Yep.
And so if we go back to our friends at Adobe and think about what they inherited from Macromedia, or some of the things that Sun has, that came from Sun to Oracle, and you look at this mess, and that's no reason, or you want to pick on the orphans scattered across Symantec or McAfee. It's no reason to neglect them, but there are a lot of things that are neglected code, and it doesn't mean that they're exposing their customers to stuff they shouldn't, but it's not an easy one. And as far as I don't know, I think that we have some challenges in universal standards. There's a big deal that GM finally has a bug bounty, but the wording of the bug bounty, some people were thrilled by, and a few other folks, Charlie Miller in particular, was not happy with the wording of the bug bounty, because basically it said according to Charlie, I haven't read the whole thing, so this is but I'll take Charlie at his word. If you agree to play by the rules of our bug bounty, we won't sue you. Oh, that's great, but what?
How do you interpret
if
the
rules? Are dumb, and so But the implication there is stray away from our interpretation of our rules, which we can rewrite at whim, and we'll sue you. It's like, really? Car manufacturers.
Also, that means if you find something and you're not part of that bug bounty, that means you're going to sue me?
Yep.
If I report it?
Well, and I think that as much progress as we've made in trying to make sure that cars are more secure and even more safe, I think that's being trumped by technology right now. I mean, because they're essentially computers with wheels, and if you look at the CAS coverage this year, there's more damn computers with wheels coming out than ever before. In fact, they're moving more towards, and I heard this on Twitter, we're talking about autonomous vehicles.
Yep.
Yeah, like so instead of Uber, like I get in an autonomous vehicle.
Yep.
Also, Paul, we have to be realist. I have not met one single person that writes code and doesn't have bugs in their code.
Oh, sure.
There are always going to be bugs. Either you're a security company or you're not a security company. The way I see it is, how do you handle people coming to you with those bugs? That's the big. And you can see with FireEye when initially those guys found a bug on their kit, and they went all hardcore lawyers and everything against them, and they got a very big backslash from the community itself. And then you see the second time somebody reported stuff in their kit, they went like, "Oh, thank you. We're going to work on this. Thank you for reporting it. Oh, you're so awesome." And their attitude and the way they handled everything completely changed. I think it's that's where we need to focus, is how do we respond to this stuff and how do we fix it quicker, rather than just going like, oh, a security company with a bug. Yeah, they write code. Everybody writes code. Right. Everybody makes mistakes.
Well, I think the thing that you're pointing out there, Carlos, is the that when the bugs are revealed, and they are through research activities, if it's a security company in particular, if you're going to survive, then you need to come clean out the gate. If you throw your army of lawyers out there and you get defensive from day one, you're going to lose a lot of respect in the industry. I mean, that's just a fact.
Yep.
Michael, you're way too quiet. I'm worried. You have me worried, Michael.
No, I'm at a point where I'm just trying to learn. I mean, I think it's I'm fundamentally interested in all of it, and I've looked at some research recently, not related to this. And one of the stories I think Joff, you put up, was about the doorbell and the Internet of Things. I'm advising more startups now, and so I'm actually just processing the point at which, here's the question that came to me earlier today, and I'm processing it heavily while I'm listening to you guys talk. We talk a lot about segmentation. Is that always the right answer? What if it's already there? What if it's already, right? You already pointed out all the companies that have grown by acquisition. Okay, well, segmentation might not be possible, or cleaning the code might not be possible. So I guess part of me is wondering how much of this is dogmatic and we need a change. How much of it is we just need a change, forget dogma. And then how much of it is, what's the real issue? I mean, like when we look at like credit cards and stuff, it's I had some good conversations today around some research, so I can talk about it more in 2 weeks. But it's let me just say, it's interesting. It got me thinking stuff really differently, and the reason I'm quiet is I'm just really reflecting on it. I don't have answers. I have a lot of questions.
And in my case, I have a gripe with many of the new startups that are coming out there, and is that they're commoditizing their products. They think about the stuff that they put out there as something commoditized, and they never take into consideration the lifespan of that product and take into consideration.
I think it's key.
Also, we need to update this thing. What procedure are we going to have to update this thing? I'm seeing a lot of people.
You know what? I don't mean to cut you off, Carlos, but that's one of the things I learned from Paul. Every time I sit with a new startup now, if they're doing anything that's even remotely product related, I ask, right? And Paul, I got this from you. I have 3 questions. Where did you get your chip? How is the chip updated? And then how do you plan to update it? I'm sad to say most of the startups I talk to say, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm a huge fan of the cloud now for just that reason. I mean, even if you do have a hardware device, you still have to worry about updating that hardware device. But as I see more products come on this market, I'm increasingly more behind the ones that have some kind of cloud component. Why? Because they can update their software in the cloud, and poof, it's updated for everyone. I don't have to wait for a user to now
click a button.
I work for Tenable, right? Nessus has been around for a really long time.
And the beautiful smell of
what
beer burning sage.
Smoking, Mike?
Wow, I'm really full for that.
So Joff wants one too. He's just afraid to admit it.
I want a exorcism over my computer or whatever the hell that was.
Along the lines of nostalgia.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever read the Hacker Manifesto?
It's been many years.
Many years, right? January 8th, 1986 is when that came out. 30 years ago, just this week. Written by The Mentor, published in Frack issue 7. Frack issue 7. It's kind of interesting to go back and read that after 30 years. Go ahead. Who's talking there?
Have we ever seen a picture of him?
I think he did eventually come out from behind his hacker handle, right?
Who was this?
The Mentor?
Lloyd Blankenship. Yeah,
yes, thank you, Mike Blankenship. Yeah.
Lloyd.
And he has actually given his manifesto at conferences or read it aloud or something like that. There's a video in the Tech Insider article of him doing that. So
I gotta look for that.
Yeah, I think it's something everyone should read and kind of see how or if things have changed in the past 30 years with that respect.
Can't believe it's been 30 years.
CFAA.
Yeah, well, yeah, certainly the laws have changed or been created for good, bad, worse, or indifferent.
The way I see it, it is a very nice idea, concept that we should behave that way. But in the end, since the days of MOD and all of the initial hacker groups and Rhino team and all of that stuff, it has always been the ego. It has always been, I want to get out there and see, hey, look at me, I did this. Look at me, I know about this. And it hasn't changed. If you look at the community, people like the attention. People like the egos. That's why we have the con divas that go to the con circuit, and we have people submit to 20 cons the same presentation and give it in 20 cons the same content. And
so we do this podcast every week for the last 10 years. Wait,
no, that's not
for people that say that their handle is a brand and that's their brand and they have to promote it. I think it hasn't changed from the old days. The manifesto is nice. The manifesto is good. It gives us a good foundation. It gives us something to strive for, but in terms of the community, it is still the same that it was many, many years ago. I think now,
I'd say to a point, Carlos. I mean,
money has changed it a lot.
There's a thriving market in software kits for hire, right? Or for sale to create botnets, to create various things, whether they be malware families on mobile devices or desktops or whatever. So that market has grown up, I think, in response to sort of that ego thing maturing into a profitable entity.
Well, I would agree with Joff. I think that, and Carlos, right? I think there are people that, do it for the glory. And I think, as Joff's saying, there's people that do it for the money. And I think that doing it for the money maybe didn't exist in as much as it does today as it did in 1986. But I think now you kind of have your choice, right? Like, if you want to totally fly under the radar and be on the underground, yeah, you could probably create really evil stuff and sell it to people who do nefarious things with it and not have a conscience and not care and make a lot of money doing that. Or, you can find cool stuff and give it at a conference and tell people about it. I mean, who am I to judge, who's better or worse? Even though the people that are doing it for vanity, I think subconsciously or maybe unknowingly are doing it, and people are benefiting from it in a positive way. Yep. So
there's a viable market for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a demographic thing, though, because the people who are doing it for vanity, I would make the assertion, are largely youth who are living under somebody else's roof. and their life is paid for, and so the vanity aspect is more attractive. The people that are doing it for profit, have real reasons to make money and to live off of that.
Economic factors.
Yeah.
And you hit a very good point there, Joff. When you look at many of these groups, even back from the 80s, when you look at the MOD guys, when they started, they initially started hacking and fracking and doing all of that kind of stuff. And then they became some of them became some of the first security companies back in Texas and in New York and Illinois. And many of the people right now in the hacker community, many of us started with the sense of, this is a community we're doing for this. And now we work in the industry. We work in the security industry that was created out of it.
Yeah.
I think one of the important things about this is that it's called the Hacker Manifesto. It's idealistic, which is what you want a manifesto to be. Reality is not always idealism.
It's being spoken from the guy who's written a manifesto or two.
That's right. I think his beard has written a manifesto
on its own.
It's impressive. Any other closing stories that you guys thought were interesting?
I was actually curious your take on IoT, but the bit that we got put up about the doorbell and the fact that.
So I think that was my story.
That was your story, Joff. So I'll let you run with it. But I'm actually kind of curious what you guys think about it.
Yeah, so
because Paul, it mixes your favorite thing, wireless, with IoT.
And doorbells.
I didn't know you think for doorbells. My bad.
So the impetus of the core of this story is that a Wi-Fi doorbell appliance, it's made by Ring, was IoT.
I think these guys were on Shark Tank too, Joff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So IoT smart doorbell that connects to the user's home Wi-Fi, right? Allowing them to view who is entering the door when the doorbell rings. Okay, pretty simple concept. However, if you pop the lid on the doorbell and press a button, suddenly the doorbell turns into an access point, which you can associate to. You can hit a URL and gain the configuration of the network in an XML file from that URL, and suddenly you have the password of the user's home Wi-Fi. Not cool, right? Just really poor implementation. And poorly physically secured as well. But I would really more lean on poor implementation here. I thought that was interesting.
Does it record all of the video? It does video recording.
I don't think so, from what I could read.
It says view and download up to 6 months of activity.
Oh well, okay, you might be right.
So you can see who. At least you can see who.
So it's like one of those trail cameras.
Yeah, it's like you can see who broke into your Wi-Fi network. Yeah, Mike, exactly. It's the one that like deer hunters use, right? They put the camera on the tree and they track the patterns of deer.
Well, I would say it's like
tip
of the iceberg,
I have one.
Right?
We pick up deer in the backyard all the time, and turkeys and other weird animals.
I mean, tip of the iceberg. Just if you can pull the XML to see the user's Wi-Fi configuration, you probably are going to be able to delete the videos as well.
That's interesting. My wife,
but let's go a step further too. If you could pull the XML, right? So you need physical access, and you can pull the XML. If you're going to be that close, do you need? I mean, if you have the skill set to do that, can't you just crack their Wi-Fi anyway?
Maybe not.
Yeah, why would you risk getting yourself on camera doing that?
No, that's a good point. If you're using a WPA pre-shared key and you can capture a key exchange, there's certainly the possibility that you can crack that.
It takes time.
It
does.
It takes time. And any key less than 20 characters is considered weak. So if you have a pre-shared key over 20 characters, you're in pretty good shape.
Yeah, not a lot of people I think are going over 20 characters now because there's so many devices that have to connect to your Wi-Fi network that don't have keyboards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why mine is 20 characters because I have way too many devices.
Because you know what the minimum is?
The minimum is 8, right?
Yeah. You know how many characters my WPA pre-shared key is at home? 8. You know why? Because when I'm on the road and my wife says, "Hey, this thing doesn't connect to the internet anymore. What is the password?"
Right.
The fact that it's got special characters is bad enough.
Yeah.
Well, so this is part of the reason I was bringing that up too. Is that so this got surfaced on Twitter today, and So now the discussion says, well, should we do segmentation? That's kind of part of, I mean, segmentation has been a recurring theme today. Well, and there you go, Jack, and that was exactly the response to it. And so one of the things that
but
Pat
like,
said
what would you segment? So if I have a Wi-Fi network for my doorbell, like what else has to be on that network? My
like for example, system? I've got an Apple router. I could have a guest network, and I could let my guests use that, and they could also be on the doorbell. I guess.
Yep.
By the way, I don't have one of these doorbells. I'm not that interested in it, so I don't.
I know a guy that runs several. I want to say just shy of 14 VLANs at home for various types of devices, BD devices, IoT devices, guests, PCs, home PCs, work PCs, that type of stuff.
I just did the door lock thing in my house.
Yeah.
So all my door locks now, I know I'm brave, right? All my door locks connect back.
Carlos is mapping out your whole house right now.
When can I come over?
My thinking is
wait, I'll just park out in front.
But my thinking is, like, if you've got the knowledge and expertise to unlock my doors, you're probably smart enough to break into my house, really, no matter what I do. Unless I have an armed guard in front of my house 24/7.
Yeah.
No, look, I think it's a fair point. If you're willing to go up to somebody's house and potentially be captured on camera, and pop that open and do it, then guys, you could have a crowbar. Get right in.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like you can break a window, or
it comes down to motivation and low hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you really going to want to crack the Wi-Fi password so you can have some malfeasance on the network, or are you just going to kick a door in?
I mean, I'll even make the argument that being able to lock all of your doors by the push of a button on a smartphone, or see everyone who comes up to your front door, increases your OPSEC more than it introduces risk.
Oh, that's crazy talk, Paul.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy talk, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I love every minute of it. And come see my revised RSA talk. Talking about these very things.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I think there's probably a way that you could use these things and have improved security on them, and that probably fits somewhere in between, like not having them at all, or using them with no thought about security. Like there's probably a middle road that isn't either of the ends of the spectrum, but the middle road is probably the best way to go, right? Because you're getting the security benefit of both, and there's some risk, but I think that middle road is kind of where you want to be.
I agree. And many years ago, Darren and I started the Survival Nerds blog, and this whole, which we haven't done with anything in a long time. And the whole premise of that was, great. This is good. Let's use technology, and technology can be awesome, and technology can help make things better. Until it comes back to bite us,
right?
And that's a two-way street. So, not only from the attackers attacking quote innocent victims versus the authorities attacking innocent victims, and innocent victims attacking the authorities.
Right.
It's a multi-way street.
What I think's important, and I like the direction that this took, which is we need to look at it and say, look, just because it's a possible attack doesn't mean the internet thinks, I told you it's all over. It's like, yeah, okay, it's bad, but is it bad, right?
Yeah.
Is it
like if you're going to break into my house, you better make sure that you're just not bypassing my door lock, because guess what? When the door's open, you're tripping a door sensor. When you walk through the door, you're tripping a motion sensor. So you better make sure you own.
Oh, see, down in the South, it would be like, guess what? You're going to hear one slide.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Well, then if I'm home, you have to worry about that. If I'm not home, obviously, if no one's home, no one's home. But you better make sure you root my SmartThings hub from the beginning and turn all that shit off in one fell swoop.
It's the home. It's the that's the least expensive portion of your home security system is the really cheap, poorly sounding racking shotgun.
Yes, exactly.
Because you want it to be loud.
Right.
Well, there is an overall disturbing trend that does concern me, and it's something Paul's been talking about a lot, and that is these consumer grade devices that are got poorly implemented APIs are now essentially exposing your internal network infrastructure stuff through just crappy code, and that trend's not going to stop. That trend's going to continue as more and more of these things are implemented, and there are very poor methods for updating the software. There's going to have to be a meeting of the minds eventually to work out how can we implement appropriate firmware and software upgrades for the Internet of Things style devices that meets or exceeds the same standards that our PCs and our application level software on the PC platform.
Let's definitely go for exceeds, but this is why a lot of times when I bring up these questions and I say, okay, do we like what the Google Play Store is doing? Do we like what the App Store is doing? Is this the right strategy? Does WordPress have a responsibility here, right? Like when we ask those questions, that starts to look at those models. Paul, I mean, I've paid all of you compliments tonight in terms of shifting my thinking on it. So I guess then almost the flip side then to this is, so what's the one question that we start to give to consumers to ask, but then to start to discern the answers as well, right? Because one of the things that's definitely going to happen here from a consumer perspective is, I think it's disingenuous on one hand to say consumers don't care and they won't understand. That's simply untrue. Are they confused by it? Yes. Are they interested? Yeah, they're interested at a level far more than I give most people credit for. Do they know what to do with it? I don't know. We don't know what to do with it. Why would we expect somebody else to? But if we can center on one or two things, 2 or 3 questions, and we can start to then empower people to think about it differently. And I think as an industry, if we amplify the people that are good, I'll come back and Paul, I can take this with you offline too, but I'm looking at routers now that handle stuff with kids. I'm looking, and then there's plugins for routers that handle stuff with kids. Man, if we find good solutions, I think it's in our benefit as a community to raise up the people that are doing it what we think are right. As long as we're clear on what right is, then I think we benefit.
Yep. And now, Michael, I'd throw the question back to you is, when the intent of routers on dealing stuff with kids, what's the market for the kids? What's the age level for the market with kids?
Well, I mean, I've got two that are, I think we call them tweens. Okay. Man, they are better at computers than I am. And but they manage to get themselves into some situations fast that it's like some of these things. Look, I'll tell you without naming names. I've looked at a couple different ones that. Because I'm not interested, like I don't want to proxy, I don't want to shut them down. What I kind of want to do is limit some of their time and then just get an understanding of what they're doing so I can sit and have a conversation.
And make sure they can't buy shit, right? My 7-year-old
There's probably a few other things I got
that Amazon Fire thing, and like I'm like Michael, right? I'm like, I don't want to limit, I want to monitor and then make the decision. And then my wife's like, Braden brought bought a whole bunch of shit on Amazon last night through the Fire TV. Like,
no,
just buying because it wasn't asking him for a password. But now, he watches me intently when I type the password on him. He's gonna figure that fucking shit out. That's how he rolls, man. He is. So that's the thing. We've had the discussion about boundaries, and this is for us. This has been a great thing about Minecraft. That I set up some Minecraft server for Corinne and some of her friends and this type of stuff. And that said, this you don't have to. I will gladly give you access to our Minecraft server that is monitored and is kids only. Gotcha.
And I might be following up with you on that then too.
Yep, absolutely. And
the Minecraft server.
And the rules are no griefing. You build it, you break it. Great. Somebody else builds it. It's not yours to break.
Right.
So you have to have respect for other people's things, like my password. You need to have respect for my password.
Exactly.
This is my thing that I built. You don't break it.
Right.
So,
well, with that, we have to end the show this evening. We've run out of time. I want to thank all of our illustrious hosts on the lines via Skype and here in studio. That concludes this edition of Security Weekly. Larry, take us out.
Over and out.